Hello everyone and welcome back to some good old StarCraft 2. Now over the last couple of days I've been featuring the best maps from the most recent StarCraft 2 map contest. The reason for that is of course that it's a lot of fun to have a look at what the map makers have been working on over the last half year or so. But secondly of course there's a very good chance that we will see these maps at some point on the ladder in StarCraft 2 and therefore in tournaments as well. Now today we're gonna have a look at a Zerg versus Terran as well as a Zerg versus Protoss on a map called Stargazers. And I'm assuming it's called Stargazers because of this little star right over here in the center of the mini-map. Although, looking at it closer, yeah, it's not really the prettiest star I've ever seen. Yeah, especially from an angle. That's kind of how I like to draw stars. It's really not too impressive. Anyways, this particular map, it's made by Maris. Maris, of course, likes to name her maps after metal songs and metal bands. Now, I do listen to metal from time to time, but I don't get this reference, but maybe someone can let me know down below in the comments section of this video. Now, I featured one of her maps yesterday as well. So this map, it ended up taking 4th place overall at the TLMC 16, and yesterday's map was 3rd. Like I mentioned in that video, she's been experimenting with pocket expansions, and Stargazers has won as well. So it'll probably be a toss-up between this one and then the one that I featured yesterday. And I thought yesterday's map was actually really good. Probably the best one that I've seen so far, but maybe this is gonna be a little bit different. And maybe I'll change my opinion on pocket bases in general. Anyways, in the top left-hand corner of Stargazers, playing with the blue Terran SCVs from the Netherlands, we have none other than uThermal. Although apparently in this game, he goes under the name of Trademark. Now, his first name is Mark, and apparently it's just a bad pun, right? I mean, once upon a time when he joined Liquid, players used to go and have, like, Liquid as their, like, I guess, clan tag and then, like, their nickname over here. But apparently Liquid uThermal is too many characters for the StarCraft 2 character limit, so it doesn't fit. And ever since then, it seems to me that uThermal has been memeing with his nickname. I mean, he could just go with uThermal, or I guess, like, Liquid uThermal. I mean, he's got the clan tag right now as well, so... Anyways, he could have definitely gone uThermal, but he decides to... yeah, play under a different nickname all of the time, which is pretty funny, right? It's pretty good. Anyways, his opponent, a Zerg player in the top right-hand corner. I mean, someone who's also changed their nickname, but I guess this is more serious? Although, he changed his name from Vanya to a literal Pokemon. We are looking at none other than Rattata's main hatchery. Is that... do you actually spell the Pokemon in the same way, or is it just a single T first? I'm not exactly sure. Anyways, he used to go under the nickname of Vanya, like I said. Very highly ranked Zerg player from the European servers. So as I'm making this video, Rattata is currently considered to be the rank 31 in the world overall. uThermal currently considered to be the rank 30. Now Rattata, I mean, it sounds funny even to just cast his name. Anyways, he decided to open up with a relatively quick spawning pool right over here. But I don't really think it's going to do all too much. Alright, so what is a pocket base? Well, it's a base that's relatively easy to acquire, right? But you can't really rush this one out. So, in yesterday's video, we saw a pocket base that had 6 mineral fields and then 1 gas geyser. This is a complete base. However, it's got 2 mineral fields in the middle of it. I mean, right now, I guess one of them, maybe an Overlord died just now. I'm not exactly sure. Anyways, one of them already got mined out here. uThermal has started mining out the 2 mineral fields. They have 10 minerals in them each, meaning that an SCV needs to take, well, if you send 1 SCV at the very least, it needs to do 2 trips for every single one of them. So, you can't really rush it out unless you send workers there right at the very beginning of the game, so it's not super safe. Plus, at the bottom of this one right over here, or like halfway down that ramp, there are 2 mineral fields that have 40 minerals in them. So, since a worker can mine 8 minerals a trip, other than, I guess, a mule, yeah, it's gonna take a little bit, but obviously once this is down, I mean, you're gonna basically be... next door neighbors, especially if Zerg decides to take that one. Now, so far, Rattata has decided to take his base down south, expanding away from the opponent, which makes a lot of sense. Now, a couple of Hellions, though, are going across, and a random medevac drop with 7 Marines is going inside of the main base. Alright, a couple of Queens over here are going to be tasked with the defense. There are a few Zerglings available. Hello, medevac, medevac, medevac. Really? Okay. I don't think this was supposed to be a one-way trip. Rattata, by the way, not really making a whole lot more Zerglings here. He's dealing a bit of damage on the other side of the map as well. Mostly just holding down the drone button. Oh my god, this is doing way more damage than I thought, but I also thought that these Marines were going to be able to go home. Really? Really? The drones are even pulled to fight right now, really? 12 drones in total? But it was at the cost of pretty much everything that the Terran player threw here as well. So it looks good for Terran, and don't get me wrong, I think that was a pretty good trade, all things considered, but it's not the end of the world here for Zerg whatsoever, because there's not really going to be a whole lot of follow-up pressure here until that Stimpack upgrade is done. So uThermal right now transitioning towards the bio upgrades, but he's also got himself that third base already landed. Now, what I like about this map layout, I think this is a pretty cool way of doing a pocket base as well, by the way, but there's a base all the way at the 6 o'clock position of this map that is essentially, I guess, a shared base, right? So both players have 6 bases to mine from, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which really isn't that much. But then there's I guess, a 7 base right here at the bottom of the map that will become super important if a game goes the distance. So this one is quite far away from the other expansions that can be taken in the bottom section of the map. But obviously they're golden minerals, so they will mine out very quickly as well. I can imagine that a lot of games, if they go the distance, will be decided by the 6 o'clock base. But obviously, you'll have to survive the top section of the map first. But it is kind of cool, right? I always like that. We have that currently as well on one of the StarCraft 2 maps where basically you have to... you have to contest with the 12 o'clock and the 6 o'clock base. I can't remember the nickname right now, or the name of the map right now, because apparently I'm a noob like that. But anyways, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like there's maps in the StarCraft 2 map pool as well where you share bases with your opponent, essentially, and it's all about who gets to mine it first, and I've got a feeling that this base is going to be so critical. Setting up static defense over here, yeah, it would be quite interesting to see. Anyways, so Rattata, not really making use of any of the map features here. Evo chambers are coming up, he's gone for a very quick lair, and with that a Spire too. Baling speed is coming up. He's going to go for the good old Mutaling Bane unit composition. Whereas uThermal is just happily, playing his bio army. And he actually starts working right here on the mineral patches on the ramp. Alright. So this could be very interesting. I know uThermal's not afraid to mix it up. The build that he's been playing so far doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I mean, the transition here makes sense, but I guess he's just messing around a little bit and trying to... play to the map's strength. I remember watching uThermal play like Battlecruiser openers long before they were cool. He's definitely always been a player who's, been pretty creative when it comes to playing with the Terran pieces. Whereas Rattata right now, at the very least, is going for the most standard Mutalisk opener you can find. Not really making use of any of the map features so far. There is also a Zelnaga Watchtower right here, by the way. At the 12 o'clock. I don't really know exactly how much it sees, but I guess you're going to be able to see if your opponent... I guess it's about that large, right? I guess you're going to be able to see your opponent coming in. Yeah, I think Maris has been making excellent maps. Really clever designs in general. Also very pretty looking. I think yesterday's map was a little bit too bright. This one seems to be... nice and bright too, but definitely not too far. Anyways, Zerglings patrolling everywhere. Overlord right here in the top section of the map to scout any of those pesky medevacs from coming up. The mineral fields have been mined out, though. And apparently this is the point where uThermal starts marching. So far, the Mutas haven't really achieved all too much yet, although, the NG bays right here at the front are very exposed. Getting both of these while 2-2 is not done yet would certainly be nice, but... I don't disagree. Oh my god, he's even dropped a mule over here to try and mine out the mineral fields here. So, they mine a whole lot more resources. Can a mule do 2 full trips? I guess it can. Yeah, it's got enough time right there. At the same time, though, in the bottom right-hand corner, mutas have been pulled back to clean up these hellbats. I really like the way that Mark plays this, yeah. Alright, so the mules, or the one mule, rather, has been tasked with clearing a path into the main base of the Zerg player. There we go. Very nice. Very nice. And this is tight, right? Like, this is a very tight area. I mean, Zerg can try and roll in there. There's 3 siege tanks. One of them is not sieged yet. And actually, Rattata may very well catch this army off guard. I don't know why one of those tanks wasn't sieged up yet, but... Alright, that one's going to be a little bit further forward. And since there's no creep in this area, all of a sudden, the main base of the Zerg is going to be accessible. Yeah, Overlords are already flying away. Is that a sensor tower or a... Yeah, it is a sensor tower or a missile turret. Anyway, Sensor Tower is going to give the Terran player the full heads up. Zerg, though, thinking about going for a counter-attack to watch the natural expo with the Terran player, and I do think that makes a lot of sense. uThermal going for the slowest of slow pushes. But I mean, this choke point is really hard to break, right? I actually like the fact that he only mined out one of them. And now even going for an NG bay here on the bridge. This is dirty. Let's see how this Baneling roll-by goes, though. Yeah. Since obviously all of the Terran units right now are, well, most of the Terran units anyway, are occupied on the other side of the map. This may actually deal some damage. Although there's a secondary layer right there to that wall off as well. Siege tank eventually comes in too, okay. Mutas thought about engaging the siege tanks there, but sadly for Rattata, I don't know. Not all of the Marines were pulled back to defend home. I think they may have stimmed though. Is that an all army hotkey stim that I see? Maybe. Let's make the assumption it wasn't. Yeah, so Rattata has got good control of the bottom section of the map. I really feel like he should have taken a gold. I also don't know if it's a good idea to take the hive or to take the hive inside of the main base, just because... Okay, he decided to kill his own structure there, but because it feels extremely exposed. I thought he was going to try and make a beeline for the main of the Zerg, but apparently that's not going on right now. Bio Army, though, dealing a lot of damage at the same time. Mutas inside of the natural expansion of the Terran player, dealing some damage too. This is a lot of Marine Marauder, though, but it's deep onto the creep, and, like, if those Banelings connect well, okay, it could be an absolute disaster. Great micro so far by the Dutchman. Once again, proving that the Netherlands is literally the greatest country ever. Totally not biased, not even a little bit. Okay, there's a lot of Banelings, though, just about to finish up inside of the Natural Expo, but that Siege Tank spread is really nice. 6 o'clock base, the gold does come up here eventually. Missile turret will be killed. Could he not have just gone to the main base? I guess he doesn't want to. Oh, God. Supply-wise, Rattata definitely is looking pretty good. uThermal doesn't have a whole lot of SCVs here in total, but he does have a massive army. Once again, man, that micro there was gorgeous. He managed to kill most of those Banelings, yeah, without them really dealing any damage whatsoever. And there it is, uThermal making very good use of the map layout. He obtains the victory. Alrighty, so our next game is a Protoss versus Zerg, where in the top left-hand corner we have MaxPax. And his opponent in the top right with the blue Zerg drones, we have Bly. Now MaxPax, of course, I mean, Bly's nickname is On Fire, but MaxPax really is the one who's on fire recently. As we've been making this video, according to Aligelec, MaxPax is considered to be the rank 10 in the world overall, which is incredibly impressive because he's, like, how old is he? 16, 17 years old. He's still very young. Only getting better and better and better as well, so definitely one of my favorites going forward with the premier tournaments of 2022 as well. I'm still a little disappointed he decided to decline his invitation to the World Championships. Anyways, Bly, I know, actually has been taking a bit of a break from StarCraft 2. He's been very busy with other work as well, but I figured, okay, if anyone's gonna make use of the map mechanics, right, it should be Mr. Bly. And indeed, he has decided to take the gold base at the bottom of the map. Another drone was sent out. MaxPax did send out a very quick probe, so I don't think he got a glimpse of that drone already moving south, but maybe he did. If he did, then he should know that there's a gold base taken somewhere. Obviously, Bly, he loves going for a block inside of the natural expansion of the Protoss player as well. MaxPax knows who he's going up against, though, so he's already been scouting extremely early on. He already had a probe sitting on the low ground, too, just to prevent that from happening in the first place. And even though Bly really wants it, I don't think he's going to get it. Nah. So there's actually a little micro trick that you can do, right? So if, like, say you have a drone right over here and a probe is chasing it very close by, you can have the probe attack it, which will decelerate the worker. And then at the same moment, if you accelerate with the drone, you can actually create enough distance to still plant down the hatchery. It's a bit of a cheeky move. It doesn't work all of the time, but that's what Bly was hoping for right there. And apparently we're going to transfer drones all the way down south? That's expensive. That is really expensive. So for every second that these workers aren't mining, you lose about 0.8 minerals for every single one of them. So this is hundreds of resources of lost mining time down the drain. I'm sure that Bly is just messing around as well, right? I mean, I don't think these guys, they practice the maps extensively before they decide to, yeah, play in these tournaments. I mean, maybe they played a little bit on it, but... What is going on, by the way, with this little effect right here on the bush? I kind of dig it. I guess it's in the water as well. Anyways, Adept comes up. Stargate comes up. Zerglings are being built, but obviously with this many hatcheries, yeah, there's not going to be link speed here just yet. I think a spine crawler might not be a bad idea, Mr. Bly. MaxPax playing as safe as he can, right? You can really tell that he does not want to be cheesed out with something silly. Going for the Stargate in the wall off. A single gateway for now. I think it's very tempting to put down a second gateway as well and start pumping out those Adepts 2 at a time. Quite a few workers have been killed though so far. Especially after that drone transfer. That's very painful. Yeah, I don't think that this gold base is as easy to acquire as, like, say, on Pride of Altaris. Pride of Altaris has that gold base, that 8 mineral patches and stuff, but this is a 6 mineral patch one. And this is... How many workers already? 4 drones gone down. I mean, it's not the end of the world. But this is just the beginning of the harassment, right? Oracle coming up. Making a straight line for that 6... Oh, never mind. Going for the main base instead. If you're forced to put down those spore crawlers as well, that's effectively another couple drones down, right? Because, well, you need to make 1 each. Alright. Queens will definitely not be able to help each other out. Second Oracle, already on the production tab. And MaxPax happily making those probes 2 at a time. I mean, small little supply block right there. Apparently wasn't able to produce something for a little bit. Nice control here, though, by Bly, all things considered. I mean, keeping the majority of those drones alive. And he will be able to kill the Adept here eventually. Morphing in a structure at the last possible second. Obviously, it does cost you some money when you cancel the structure there, but Baneling Nest comes up. Alright. So I think Bly is just going full cheese here. I mean, it's not even a terrible idea, right? When you know that you've got the gold base and you're getting some of that boost in the early game income. Going for a full-on Bane bust does make sense, but it's going to take you a lot. Assuming Protoss here makes a couple of defensive structures, like for example a shield battery, or even like a full wall off as soon as he sniffs out that something's not quite right, that could be an absolute disaster. It's gonna be Glaive Adept from our Protoss player as a follow-up, okay. A couple more drones do start up right here for Bly, but there's already quite a few lings out. I mean, if you're gonna commit to... I think this is a Bane bust, right? That's the only reason why I would take one this early. If you're gonna commit to a Baneling bust, you need to really commit to it. Like, a half-arsed Baneling bust doesn't do anything. You're just gonna blow up 3 structures and then, like, not have anything as a follow-up. MaxPax probably has spotted, though, additional... Kinda depends on where they ran. If they ran... No, I don't think they actually saw that. Anyways, I was gonna say that he probably spotted that these units were ready to go across the map. At this point, it seems like there's quite a few Adepts already, though, and he does actually spot this army. Okay, Stalker in the wall. He's gonna need a very good hit right there on these Adepts if he wants to. Oh my god, well, apparently Terran players don't need to split anymore. Protoss players also perfectly capable of doing so. Glaives are done in about 30 seconds from now. These Adepts will go down, but this was a huge commitment, and at this point we're talking 27 drones for the Zerg versus, yeah, 51 for Protoss. MaxPax taking the in-base expo. More than content just simply sitting back and playing a relatively passive game. As I pointed out yesterday, that's my main concern with pocket expansions like this. It just simply gives you a free card to Skytles, which I don't think I necessarily like all too much. But I think as one map, like if there's one map with a pocket expo in the map pool of StarCraft 2, I think that would be pretty cool to see. Although I don't think this is working out all too well right here for Bly so far, though. I mean, he's soon gonna go up against full 3-base saturation from Protoss. And MaxPax is completely in the driver's seat of this game. Second Stargate comes out. He can start taking the gases over here, and he's already mining out the resource patches right over here. Not even entirely sure if that's the best move to make, although I guess if you mine out the mineral fields in the back of the Zerg's base as well, you can just shade a couple Adepts in. Probably not what they will expect. Bly, though, has been droning up a little bit, making the best of the situation, probably hoping for a golden Baneling hit. The Adepts, though, have now joined up with a Void Ray, as well as those Oracles from earlier. They're gonna shade into the main base. Now, keep in mind, that's full Zergling versus a bunch of, yeah, Adepts. I mean, that's never a good situation for the Zerglings to be in. Unless they can maybe get a full wraparound and +1 melee. I think that especially with the Oracles now joining in as well, there's gonna be too much for our Protoss player. So even though MaxPax is already transitioning towards a full Skytles army, it's a little bit too much. Very cool strategies today, though, in both of the games.